Siguiendo con esta sinusoide que nos está arrastrando toda esta mañana
So,
al
to
conocimiento
continue with
global
this
de
journey
los volcanes, pero también de sus
that we're
ecosistemas, de sus
going
cocinas, de
on
sus gentes,
today about the
de sus proyectos
ecosystems, the
y, en fin, y
people,
de todo
the
lo que pueden dar de
cuisine
sí,
of all these
creo
different
que ha llegado un
places,
momento
I think
muy
now
interesante
is the time
en esta
for
programación
quite an
nacional,
interesting
porque
point in our agenda.
tenemos a lo que normalmente llamamos una auténtica eminencia.
We're
Una
joined today
eminencia en
by
el
a
mundo de los
real
volcanes.
eminent figure in
Él
the
es
world
doctor
of
en ciencias de la
volcanoes.
Tierra
He has a PhD
y
in
él
earth
nos va a hablar,
sciences,
creo que de
and
uno
he's
de
going
los
to talk to
parámetros
us about,
que creo que tienen que ser
well, one of
importantes en el
the
desarrollo de
important
este congreso, pero sobre
parameters
todo
that
del
I think
futuro.
are key for
No
this
solo en Lanzarote,
Congress,
sino
but
en todos
for
los
the
territorios
future, not
volcánicos
just in
que van a tener
Lanzarote, but
Lanzarote
all
como su capital.
volcanic
Porque
areas with Lanzarote
nos
as
va a
its
hablar
capital.
justamente de esa
He's going to
divulgación
talk to us
científica,
about this
vamos ya
scientific
de paso también
outreach
acotando o secando por algunos lados
that we're
la comunicación sobre
narrowing
este
in on
volcanismo
today,
antiguo y,
communication
por
about
supuesto,
ancient
las formas
volcanic
de turismo que
activity,
todo
and of
esto
course
puede
the
generar.
types of
Él se
tourism that
pregunta
this can
incluso
create.
en el título de su
He
ponencia
wrote,
la de ahora mismo, qué es lo
he,
que está
he,
en
he
juego en
actually
todo esto, ¿no? En lo
has put in the
científico, en lo
title of
turístico,
his speech
en lo
today, what's
comunicativo,
at
en el
stake
vulcanismo.
in
La verdad,
volcanism,
una auténtica
in all
eminencia.
of these fields.
Frédéric
Frédéric
Lecuyer.
Lécuyer.
Hi, as Mr. Say, I'm Frédéric Lécuyer, and I'm a geologist. First, I'm a geologist, but I decided to be a geologist. It's a long time ago because I decided to be a geologist. I was 10 years old. But I don't live, at least, on the territory of volcanoes because I was born in the north of France, in a place whose name Picardy, and there is no volcanoes. So I start my study in geology in a city of Lille, north of France, where we study sedimentology, where we study tectonic, but volcanoes are a joke. Until I was in the first year of masters, and there is a man who arrived in Lille, who was professor in Lille, just arrived, and he asked to make a field work on old volcanoes. Old volcanoes is in the French Massif Central, named Aubrac. Old volcanoes, I say old volcanoes, is between 9 and 6 million years ago. And I study for the first time, it was yesterday, it was in 19... so sorry, that's not I'm French, and that's not my language. English is not my language. So it was in 1984, yesterday, geologically yesterday. And I study volcanoes. I make a map around a place whose name is Saint-Ursis, and I discover volcanoes like that. Okay. My problem was that I work like a geologist on volcanoes without going on active volcanoes. Yeah, there is something wrong. So the same years, I go on. I meet a man. Maybe you know him. He's Maurice Kraft, and he said to me because I want to see an active volcano. He said to me, it's good to go to the Stromboli volcano because it is still active. It's 3,000 years ago. So if you go there, you see it will be the devil if you not see activity. So I go. And during the same year, 1984, I stay one night on the top of the volcano, and I catch a virus. Oh no, not this one, not this. The virus of volcanoes. And so I decided after this master, because I work on Aubrac for my master, I decided to work after on active volcanoes. And I decided also because I teach. After then, I teach almost 10 years on the college and high school. And I come back to make a thesis in Clermont-Ferrand, where there is a big laboratory of magmatology and volcanology. And I decided to, because I was professor on college, and I decided to make a scientific diffusion, and it starts the first time with television, on Gaumont television and French Antenne 2 television. And a man, maybe you know also, is Arun Taziev. I drive these people in Indonesia. I start to go in Indonesia in 1989. And after, I do some books. And I do many books. The first one I do was translate in 7 languages. So I do it with Time Life. And it was translated in English, German, what for? Netherlands, Swedish, Italian, and it was also translated in Spanish. Oh, this one is a reduced version. Normally it was bigger, but it reduced during the time, I think so. And so I write also other books and magazines. I created a magazine in 2003, sorry. And that's the first part, maybe, of the different way you can do scientific diffusion. What is scientific diffusion? It's to learn to the people. So I do books, you see. I do. I create a society in 1999. After my thesis, I create a society. And response to the desire to Vulcania, the Vulcania was, when we create them, was the museum of volcano, the biggest museum of volcano in the world. And we do that during three years. Vulcania was, Vulcania is situated in French Massif Central, and we do a lot of things, work, drive some society on the volcanoes, and so on. What can I say more? So just for that. I make film myself. I make conferences. There is a lot of different things you can do to make diffusion, scientific diffusion, and I think that the society was called Media Volcan, and scientific diffusion is a media. And what is the interest of that? You have to continue to learn. You make a thesis, you form yourself in volcanology, and after then, when you go to visit active volcanoes, I don't say more things than the professor Marty and the other, I don't remember your name, sorry, the 2 other volcanologists say before. You see that the volcanoes are not unique. There are big volcanoes, there are small volcanoes, and the only way to know how the volcanoes are working is to go and to see them, to study them. When you go on active volcanoes, during my experience, I meet 2 types of peoples. Tourists, and in the tourists there are a kind of tourists who are well catch. They also catch the virus of volcanoes, and I call them kind of peoples volcanophile, from the Greek philos, who means the people who are loving the volcanoes. And I am a volcanophile. I think all the volcanologists, the second type of the people you can see on volcano, I think that's all the volcanologists are also volcanophile. But the people who are only volcanophile doesn't really understand volcanoes, because they see but they have not the basis to understand how volcanoes are working. And that's a problem because sometimes they go to the scientific diffusion too, and they say, I say silliness, because they have not the basis of geology to understand the volcanoes. Excuse me. So, what is important in scientific diffusion? The scientific diffusion make understanding volcanoes by the people who doesn't who live on volcanoes, but the other one, and it's very important to be clear, to be professional, and to know very well volcanoes if you want to do scientific diffusion. I think that's the primary things to do. And how his scientific diffusion is to explain how and why the volcanoes exist and work. And qu'est-ce que j'ai mis là? Excuse me, but I signed for speaking in French, and they say to me after then, you have to speak English. Sorry for my poor English. Yeah, so it's very important to be clear, and I want to give an example of this kind of intervention. We see one in Costa Rica, but in the French, what was the name of in English? Island of Réunion, the Piton de la Fournaise. There was a lot, is still active, maybe one of the most active volcanoes in the world. And so the people around are sometimes afraid, and the people, the men who work at the observatory in Piton de la Fournaise decided to make, to form the children, and they go to the school with psychologists. And they make after a book, and they say that they explain to the children how is working the volcanoes, who it is, where it is dangerous, where it is not, why sometimes we have a caldera also, his name Enclos Fouquet, and when the eruptions are in the caldera, there is no danger. And in 2007, it was, they say, the eruption of the century. So that was almost the third or the fifth, I don't remember exactly, eruption of the century. But it was really a big and very impressive eruption. And nearby the wall of the caldera, you have the lava fountains who get up 100 meters. The wall of the caldera is 100 meters, and the lava fountains go up the 100 meters. And there was a village nearby, and the adults of the village were terrified, terrifiés en français, terrified. And that's the children who say to the adults, but it's not a problem, there is no danger. And they explain to the adults why the eruption, even if the lava fountains are really high, that it is no danger. That's, I think, typical from the scientific diffusion. And it was a science diffusion was really well done. Scientific mediators too. By most mediators of science, like than a scientist. Other things is very interesting because I do my PhD in Indonesia, and Indonesia is a little bit my second country. At first, I want to also to speak Indonesian for this communication. Tapi saya pikir Anda tidak bisa mengerti bahasa Indonesia, ya? No, you don't understand Indonesia. I think so. Okay, I continue in English, yeah. Yeah, so it's better. So in Indonesia, they use it's a long time ago. I see the volcanology in Indonesia become years after years better, and they have things to do that. They have a lot of observatory. You know that Indonesia is the country in the world where there is the most important number of volcanoes, 130 volcanoes, active volcanoes in Indonesia. And they have almost 90 volcanoes under survey, because the population of Indonesia is almost 266 million people. So, for example, a volcano like Merapi in the center of Java, there is almost, I don't know actually, but almost 30 million persons around. That's the problem of the volcanology, for the volcanologists too, and for the government too. Huh? So, in Indonesia, a normal, I don't speak about the 7 observatory around the Merapi, because he is very dangerous, because there is a lot of persons. But a normal observatory in Indonesia, that's 2 persons, almost seismometer and seismograph also. And there is one old, no, not old, say senior, a senior, it's not exactly a volcanologist, say they are technician. They take care about what happened, they learn how to read seismograph, but they are in charge of that. And so the old one, the ancients, that's not because he is old, but it's because he have more experience. He's with a youngest one, and he formed the youngest one. That's a form of scientific diffusion, or technical diffusion, but it's almost the same. And these people are moving all around Indonesia. Next time I was in Sinabung in Sumatra, it was almost in 2016, I meet a technician who became the old one. Maybe he is actually he's 40 years old, but he drive the observatory of Lokan Nempung in the north of Sulawesi. But he was in Sumatra. I say, Farid, what do you do here? You are not in your observatory. Say, yes, but I help the people from Sinabung, because Sinabung entered in eruption in 2010 after almost 1,000 years without eruption. So there was an observatory, but the people on the observatory were not really prepare with that. So he was there to help. He was there also, he say, I learn things different from the Lokan. And so they make a lot of things who form the people, and with changing the place during a few weeks, a few months, it depends. And I think it's a good way to a country where there is a lot of volcanoes. And other things, it was on the observatory of Papandayan. Papandayan also was a volcano who erupted in 2002. I go there during the eruption, and the people speak to me about something really, I think it's funny. The senior, before the eruption, was sick. So he stayed at home because he was sick very, very, it was serious. And the young one arrived one day on the observatory, and he see the seismograph, old seismographer, not on computer, like that. And the seismograph was crazy. He said, it was crazy, I don't understand what happened. He never see that. Normal. The last eruption was 70 years ago. So he cut the recording of the eruption, and on the house of the senior, there was a neighbor who come, knocked at the window of the man, and he say, "Oh, you see?" And there was a plume 4 kilometers high. I said, "Oh," and he ran to the. You see that is important. Then there is somebody who is more have more experience on volcanoes, and so all the volcanologists in Indonesia and us, we love for this time for these things. Was no problem. So Indonesia is Indonesia is a country where there is a lot of eruption and they have a lot of experience. If one is not is missing, there is another one who can find. That's not a problem. What I can say to you also. Up. Oh, ça me fait de l'ombre. I want to speak about my experience of the last week, because I was on La Palma last week and I learned things very important. The things I learned is, you know what a scoria cone is. Scoria cone is you can see scoria cone everywhere in the world. That's the more comment on dit? Maybe almost 90%, 80% of the eruption in the world I made from scoria cone. But the scoria cone, there are different kinds. For example, when you go on the Piton de la Fournaise, you find scoria cone with really hot lava, and the lava, when she fall down, is molten. And you make what the name is spatter cone. That's all the lava who arrived is locked by the other one, and it's like glue. So that's the first kind of scoria cone. But the main type of scoria cone is, you can find it on Piton de la Fournaise also, but you can find it on Etna. We have seen a photo of the Etna. That's the volcanoes who is in all the mind of the people. Okay, the cone like that with the crater, and the cone is made like with stones who are rolling like that, and it's scoria cones. Often we say Strombolian cone also. The lava is molten when it go, and when it fall down, is rocks. So it's only comment on dit un tas de cailloux? Yeah, rocks. I mean rocks. No, but it's a yeah. It's rocks. We say scoria. It can be bomb. Bombs. It's a size of the big one. Bigger than 10 centimeters until meters, it's bomb or block.
You mean rock?
Yeah, rock. That's rock.
Rocks,
Stones, yeah. Thank you. No, that's this form. When you put sands on the ground, it makes in English. Oh, c'est pas grave. C'est un tas. On dit un tas en français. En français, on dit un tas. Un tas. C'est pas grave, c'est pas très important. So that's the second and the more important type of cone of scoria cone. In 2001, I see a cone. The cone who is in La Palma, Combreviera, remind me. It was called Laghetto or Piano del Lago, and it was lava was getting out at first during the winter. There is snow, and the snow come inside the cinder and stay in the cinder. And when the lava meets the water, it makes hydrovolcanic explosion, very strong explosion. The laghetto make explosion, you can hear as far as 50 kilometers in Catania. And that was not a Strombolian cone, is like that, he have the same shape, but it was hydrovolcanic formation. When I go to Cumbreviera, I see a cone, I stay 6 days there, and I see the cone changing. He does spatter cone, like in La Fournaise. He do cone normally, like in the Stromboli or Etna. And he do also, he was in contact with water, he do hydrovolcanic explosion. And I've never seen that. Changing so fast, and but he stay a cone of scory. So every time I go, like the Indonesian who are changing, I learn new things, new things and new information about volcanoes. How a cone like Cumbreviera can be so amazing, I think it was. Yeah, it's very important to explain that the changement, like from the cone of Cumbreviera, if it's dangerous or not, that's very important to explain to the persons who are around the volcanoes how they can have to react or something like that. And I think that's our job to do that. Scientific, I see the two prestations of the scientific who were before me are for myself very well for diffusion scientific, but sometimes they are too busy to do that, and there is interesting to have some people who do that like it. What can I do? I want to say that volcanology is to the service of population during crisis, but I think it will be important to anticipate, like in Piton de la Fournaise, like in I don't remember. Sometimes, and I think also, and I say that, yeah, to anticipate, like in, yeah, in Costa Rica, they do that. I want to say something who say to me the director of VSI, Volcanological Service of Indonesia. It was during the 18. He say, me, I don't care what kind of isotope is in the magma. I don't take care of that. I just want to know when the volcanoes when the volcanoes is going to erupt and how long it stay in eruption. That was Wimpy Jejeb. I want to sit. I think he will be with me at this moment, because he said that to me. Just we were speaking about the Indonesian volcanoes at the Directora Vulkanologi, and Wimpy is dead this last 14 November 21. And okay, when you are not when you are a volcanophile, and when you are not in your country, you don't have to speak about the volcanoes. I'm volcanologist when I'm in a country who is not mine. I don't speak to the media about the crisis, because that's not my job. I'm just explain after what happened. I just explain the volcano for that, but you cannot interfere with volcanologists in charge of the eruption. That's what I think. And if you are a volcanophile, it's more important to say nothing. What can I say more? I think it's okay. 1 minute. 1 minute. You have question? I think. Look for. I don't win any money for this one, but it's still interesting. There is not a lot of. We speak on this book. We speak about all the volcanology around the world, but I think it's necessary to make a new one. Voilà. Thanks a lot. I'm sorry, but I was a little bit compressed by the time. I don't give you any visual, but next time I will do it, because I most have the habit to speak about volcanoes than what I'm doing and what is the scientific diffusion. Thank you.
Merci à toi, Frédéric. Merci à toi.
You're welcome.
It's a lot. So much information for so less time.
I hope so.
But
thank you
very much for
yeah.
your information. It's a very good information. La verdad es que podíamos estar.
We could spend much more time with Frédéric to get to know all what he has learned, but we have a program to follow and to stick to, so thank you so much. Merci.